In this episode, we're going to learn how to cook risotto like a boss. Hello, good to see you again. Risotto is one of my favorite sides to prepare for a couple of reasons, lots of reasons, but the two main ones is it's so versatile. It can, there's so many versions of risotto once you learn how to actually cook the rice itself. And then the second thing is that it pairs so well with so many entrees. I believe it needs to be, it's a requirement to be in our cooking arsenal. Today we're going to be cooking mushroom truffle oil risotto, and here are the ingredients. Cup of risotto, chopped white onion, mushrooms, mushroom broth, and truffle oil at the end. So first thing we do is we've got extra virgin olive oil to heat. I've put in the aromatic, which in this case is going to be white onion. You can use shallots. That's a real good garlic, of course. Then you also want to add your rice. It's important that we get our rice, a nice layer of oil on the rice. What that does is it helps prevent the risotto from getting all mushy through the process. I have some friends who like to actually toast their risotto before they get started. I've seen it. It changes the color of the risotto, but we're going to be using mushroom broth, which is already dark to begin with. But once you've got the aromatic starting and you've got a good, I'm just going to double check here, and a good layer of oil on your rice, now's the time to add the broth. We want to add broth in increments. Risotto is not the kind of rice that you can put in a cooker or you can just put on flame and forget, in my opinion. You kind of sort of got to be a mother hen with risotto. You kind of hover and sort of kind of hatch it in a way. Especially the first two volumes of liquid, you want to make sure you don't overdo it. You got to let the rice cook and soak in the broth in this case. All right, now you can see it's pretty much soaked up most of the liquid. Here comes our second dose. It is highly recommended that we start with room temperature broth or liquid. As you're getting your oil and your onion and your rice up to temperature, putting cold broth in there kind of defeats the purpose. You're working at odds with yourself. Hopefully you can see that it's not a hard boil. I'm not actually sure it can hard boil, but it's a good simmer around the sides. And when you're teaching someone how to cook risotto, you also have to be able to vamp because it does take some time. Once you get comfortable making your risotto, once you found your sweet spot, You don't actually have to sit here and hatch it like I said before. I strongly recommend you hatch it the first 2 or 3 or 4 times or until you get comfortable doing it. Once you've got it down, then you just got to keep an eye on it so that it doesn't run out of liquid, it doesn't burn, and you can get on with the rest of your meal. We definitely do not want to over stir the risotto, but at the same time, as it starts to soak up more of the liquid, you do want to move it around just a little bit so it doesn't stick to the bottom of your pan. As you can see, we're really close to the time to add our third helping of liquid, in this case mushroom broth. And I changed my mind. While we are getting this nice and lovely, I am going to go ahead and saute the mushrooms that we're going to add at the end. I'm doing the mushrooms in also extra virgin olive oil and just a little bit of butter. Of course, everyone's definition of a little bit is a little different. You don't judge me for mine, I won't judge you for yours. Mushrooms are very much like scallops or when we're trying to sear meat. One of the most common mistakes I've seen made, and one of the most common mistakes I made over and over again until I learned better, is to, once you get the mushrooms coated, walk away. Walk away. They need to just be left alone. Now, in the vast majority of recipes, risotto recipes I've read, or that you will read, the ratio of liquid to rice is 3 to 1. Most commonly listed as 3 to 1. In the case of risotto, I would kind of play it by ear. Before we put the fourth installment, I wanted to see how it's moving a little bit. That's still got quite a bit of liquid to incorporate in the rice. You see how it's kind of being stationary on the sides? The danger there, as you're waiting for the center to soak up the rest, is that this could start to burn. Now again, you don't want to be too, at this point, you don't want to be too rough with the rice because you can damage it. And this is, let's see, and this is just about the color that you want the mushrooms to get. It's time for the fourth installment. And that is the kind of simmer that you hopefully can cook the risotto all the way through, have a uniform. Right around the end of the fourth liquid installment is about where you can expect, where typically my risotto starts to get done. But there's only really one way to tell, as you know. A little too al dente for my taste. nice thing about risotto, one of the nice cooking hack, is that you can actually prepare it well in advance. That the morning before you have guests over for dinner. All you need to do is just stop when it's a little more al dente than you want to serve your guests, and put it aside. It'll still soak up the water, still soak up the liquid like this. And when it's time to serve it, you just add that last volley of liquid, you add the mushrooms, and you finish cooking it. Or you finish cooking it, and then you add the mushrooms. All right, it's time to finish the risotto. So we'll put the last little dose of liquid in here. And finish it up. So it'll take a little bit to get it back up to a boil. You want to make sure that you're not burning the rice, because some of it's going to be stuck to the, well, actually none of it this time, but occasionally it can be, stuck to the bottom of your pan, and in which case it will burn if you don't move it. And now is the time to add, in this case, our mushrooms. Give it another trial taste. That's really all there is to it. It's not that complicated. Once you know how to do it, it's just kind of sitting on it. It does take time. So the end of serving, what you do is you turn the heat off, let it soak up the rest of the broth. So it'll make it a little less al dente, but it'll still be good. And just before you serve it, you hit it with a dash of truffle oil. Not only does it add a wonderful flavor to the risotto, and it matches, it pairs with mushrooms extremely well, but it also adds a nice little sheen on your rice. Another way to do that, if you don't want to use oil, is to just put a pat of butter in there at the end. And then let it start to melt, and then mix it all up, and you've got a nice sheen on a nice little gleam on the top of your risotto. Well, there it is. That's pretty much what it is. Oh God, I love truffle oil. And here's the end result. The risotto. Cup of risotto, mushrooms, so you have extra virgin olive oil, you put in your aromatics, along, which was white onion again, along with the risotto. You want to coat all the risotto up so that it maintains its consistency through the cooking process, doesn't get too mushy. It's going to take 4 or 5 helpings of stock or broth. In this case, it was mushroom broth. And then finished with the sauteed mushrooms and I guess more than one quick squirt, I guess 3 or 4 sprinkles of truffle olive oil, truffle flavored oil. And that's it. That's what it looks like. I'll put all the instructions in detail in the video description. I hope this wasn't too daunting. I hope it was easy. It is fairly simple. And as always, thanks for watching.